Thanks so much, everyone. Great to be back. As promised, we're going to jump into a little bit more about PPC at REW. So let's pull back the curtain a little bit and show you a bit about how we do things.
Ooh, I want to talk about this slide.
All right.
I pulled this data just this morning, and this is sort of, I mean, obviously REW, we're a big company in the space, et cetera, like I talked about in the intro, but the reality is that the proof is in the pudding when it comes to this stuff, right? And so what I did was I took two recent brokerage customers for pay-per-click, and they're in the same franchise. They're a similar size in terms of the amount of agents they have, et cetera, the population of the area and whatnot. And what's cool about this comparison is it kind of bookends the expectation for pay-per-click, right? And so on the one hand, you have one brokerage with getting extremely inexpensive leads. And on the other end, you have another brokerage that's kind of paying the top end of the leads. And I'll explain why, because when you actually look at the numbers, you'll realize that almost all of the numbers are identical. They're really good performing, and yet one brokerage is paying $3 per lead, which, by the way, is about the best performance you'll ever see. $3 a lead is awesome. And another brokerage is paying on the high side, at least for REW, average $19.53 a lead. That would be on the very high side for REW. But when you look at the numbers, you'll actually realize that the performance is very similar. And so we can start to get into understanding why there is a difference in cost from one area to the other. So in this case, you'll see brokerage A has a 9.13% conversion rate, and brokerage B has an 8.2% conversion rate. Very similar conversion rates. They are both on the Renaissance platform, by the way, and they are both using a stock website, with the exception of they both have the same custom colors to match their brand. When you look at the click-through rates, they're both very good. Brokerage A little bit higher at 14.97%. And brokerage B is at 13.36, right? So what's the difference? If the conversion rate is similar and the click-through rate is similar, the difference is actually the cost per click, right? So in brokerage A's market, it's a less expensive market. And so if you think about AdWords being an auction system, right? The market inside of that area dictates the price. It starts at 10 cents, and then another person will bid 11 cents, et cetera, until the market gets to a point where it's decided this is the most I'm willing to pay for a click, right? And so in brokerage A, they're in a not very competitive area where there's not a lot of sophistication in the market. There isn't a lot of bidders. The average price point is lower, et cetera. So the cost per click is lower. And so when you multiply the cost per click times the conversion rate, you end up with a really inexpensive, high quality lead. Now, brokerage B is in a much more competitive market. It's in a really desirable area. They've got great price points, et cetera. And so there's a lot more competition in the market, meaning that the clicks cost a lot more, right? That's the one thing REW can't control, is how much our competition is willing to pay to be in the auction, right? So if you're in a market or if you're using Real Estate Webmaster services as an example, and you're comparing yourself to other people's numbers, it's always important to compare yourself to other local competitors. Don't see if someone's in Miami, their leads might be $35 because the average price point might be $1 million, right? If someone's in Nanaimo, where I live, it might be $13, right? So you want to compare the things that you can control, like conversion rate, click-through rate, things of that nature, and not focus so much on the cost per lead, because that will be relative to the price point and the competition in your area. But gives you some perspective. If you are going to do this yourself, you probably never beat $3 a lead, and you shouldn't be paying more than $20 a lead. So if you're over $20, think about hiring a professional. If you're under $3, I want to hire you.